Steeler Nation. The Pittsburgh Steelers start off with a Week 1 win versus the Atlanta Falcons. A very interesting way we won. We won mainly on field. Well, actually, literally on field goals. And I just want to point out, like, this, Week 1, it was a little up and down. I do believe we saw a little bit what we could look forward to from the offense. It wasn't spectacular, but I definitely seen some improvement to where we were. Now, I'm taking it with a grain of salt because it is just Week 1, and we got a whole season going forward. But yeah, the Pittsburgh Steelers end up beating the Falcons 18-10 in a game to where it was just it was just a wild game. But I will say this: as for coming in at last second, I'm going to get this out of the way. Justin Fields, in his Steelers debut, in the regular season, I know a lot of people say he didn't necessarily perform that well. But I'll take him having 157 yards and no turnovers any day. But what I really want to see going into Week 2 is we need to get the ball in the end zone. We're able to move the ball down the field. Our biggest issue is getting the touchdown, getting the points. So that's really a concern for me. I do expect that it will get figured out. It will eventually get figured out. But that's been the problem for the past couple years. We haven't had a very good offense, but even when we get down the field, our problem is we don't do good in the red zone. So I'm hoping that gets picked up in Week 2 or going into Week 2, as if Russell Wilson is not ready to go, which that game will literally be in 5 days. It was a very rocky, very defensive strong from both teams, and I mean that. It was a full-on defensive game to be expected. We did see the concerns with Justin Fields at times, where he, holds on to the ball too long, but I'm sure Mike Tomlin is talking to him about it, like, got to get rid of the ball faster. So that will be a big question going into the game versus the Broncos, is if we can move the ball more downfield and get the points. I do believe that we can get the points versus the Broncos. We should be able to score on them. So I'm not going to say that it'll be a pretty game because it's the Steelers. It never is. But I will say this: if our offense can play better going into Week 2, and if we can just execute on third downs and get the ball where it needs to be, and I do want to see in Week 2 start getting Pat Freiermuth more involved. Get him more involved in the passing game. and let him do his thing. We all know what he can do. He's shown it. He's a very, very tough player. So my thing is with it is we do want to get Pickens mainly involved, but we also don't want to leave out Pat Fryermuth. So yeah, it it's really going to determine if we get Pat involved and if we can make him that disruptor on offense, even that at the tight end position, which he has shown where he's taken the eyes of the defense and had them looking at him, which opened up the passing game. I want to see more attack in the middle of the field. Um, we kind of started going with the end around stuff, which I don't know why that is still in the playbook. I don't know why Mike Tomlin kept that in the playbook. Uh, but I want that to really be taken out because that's the stupidest freaking play I've ever seen. Just because Xavier Worthy did it for the Chiefs and got a touchdown off of it doesn't mean that we can do it. But still. Yeah, above that, I mean, Justin Fields had like 23 completions for, I think it was 25 completions for 157 yards, 58 rushing yards, which again, we didn't have to use his legs too much, which is a plus. But the times we did use his legs, I think that it was more of a good option play, and we weren't being predictable with it. Like that's the thing. Even in this game, yeah, we've seen some of his flaws. His tendency to not hold on to the ball at times at the snap. I think it happened once or twice, but after that, he was good. He was good to go. He's shown he's a very fast learner, how he can adjust really fast and fix those problems. The only concern that I really have is attacking the middle of the field and him reading the defense. But out of anything else, I think he played a pretty good game. I don't think he played elite. He doesn't have to play elite. I think a lot of people expect him to be this superstar elite quarterback when you necessarily don't need that. Like, just you need a quarterback who can motivate a team, have them play for you, and they will believe in you. And with that, with them believing in you, they will go out and do their best for you. Now, I still would like to see what Russell Wilson would do, because I would really enjoy it if Justin Fields learned from Russell Wilson for a season, and then going into the 2025 season, see what he does, what he's learned. And I'll be honest, say what you like about Russell Wilson, he still has a extremely strong arm when it comes to just throwing the deep ball. And for people who consider him a washed player, he nearly passed Patrick Mahomes in touchdowns. Think about that. He nearly passed Patrick Mahomes, who we consider, which he is, the best quarterback in the NFL today, and it's not even close. I agree with that. But don't look at Russell Wilson like he can't get that big plays, those be able to get the ball in the places where it only matters for the receiver. He can do that. He's shown it. And at 36 years old, and he's still doing what he's still playing at a level to which, he is down in his career because of his injuries. That isn't unseen. That's not being forgotten. But I do believe that if Justin has this time to learn behind a veteran Super Bowl quarterback in Russell Wilson, it can work wonders. And if Russ ends up staying next season, that would be even better for Justin Fields because it will show what he's learned by sitting behind Russ. That would be great. That would be great to see. Because, like it or not, I'll throw this in there. Look at what Mason Rudolph was able to do by sitting behind Ben for all that time. Not once complained. He not once complained about sitting behind Ben. And he showed with what he's learned when sitting on the bench, coming into a game, how prepared he was. Because if you go back and look at games like in 2019 where he did struggle, no fault of his own, he was pretty much put in at last second for the whole season. But he showed signs of how good he could be and how good he is. Mason Rudolph isn't the best. That is correct. He ain't the best. But this man put 30 points on the board for us last season. So, if anybody has any doubts that anybody can learn behind a good veteran quarterback, especially a Super Bowl one, go watch Mason and tell me, did he learn and pay attention to every single thing that happened, every note he took, every time he was talked to? He watched Ben and seen how he played, and he kind of adopted that in a way of how Ben played. Not completely like the backyard football type of Ben, but he showed that he doesn't care. He's got the balls to freaking sit there and say, I'm just going to sling this motherfucker downfield, and whoever catches it, catches it. If Fields can learn his reading the defense, work on his missed time snaps, or the muffed snap calls, and his accuracy at times, I'm telling you, he can be the future. It's not that hard to figure out when you take time to look at it. It really ain't. So, what more could you ask? That's all I ask, is that he learns from Russ. He sits behind him for a year. If Russ is able to return. But I'm also not opposed to having Justin out there. Like, Justin Fields I get it, he has his minuses, but he also has his pluses. You know, he's willing to learn, and he's shown that, and that's why Mike Tomlin likes him so much. He's willing to learn. He doesn't care if he has to sit behind somebody and learn, because if it can improve his game, he'll do it. He wants to be here. In fact, Justin Fields said he wanted to come to Pittsburgh. And Ryan Poles ended up giving him that wish. He said, "Where would you like to go?" Fields said Pittsburgh. Bippity boppity boo. He's a Pittsburgh Steeler. And that's only for a 6th round pick. Which, if he played 50% of his snaps, which I believe he did in this game, it would move up. But that's fine. We don't care about that. What I care about is how he will learn. Like, what will he work on? And he's no slouch to these big plays, like you've seen him passing the ball. And honestly, at times, yeah, you've seen where it was kind of overthrown, but it was in a spot to where a player like Pickens can adjust and catch the ball, so it wasn't necessarily out of reach. And that really stood out to me, is that he's putting the ball where only the receiver has that chance to get it. When he sees an open player downfield, like George Pickens, he is making it determined that he is going to throw him that ball. That is the one thing that we didn't get with Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett would see a absolute, just the football field itself, where nobody's sitting there, nobody's even around where he's throwing, and he threw it to somebody. He threw it to John Cena because you couldn't see him. But again, look at it how you want. Even if he isn't the future of this team, he's still a quality backup. And it would be nice, man, if we were just one rookie quarterback away from going forward and being contenders. But I don't want to give up on Fields just yet, because I believe in the developing aspect. People will be like, yeah, he's been in the league since 2021. What else can he work on? It's like, well, I mean, there's a lot that people can work on. I mean, if that was the case of him just being in the league since 2021, we can bring up Mason. And Mason learned. You know, we never seen him as the future, but he was willing to learn and to adapt, working on his game. And that's what Justin Fields wants to do. He's willing to sit behind a quarterback and learn. He wants to be the future of this team, the future quarterback of this team. And I'm not overhyping him. I'm not even overhyping him. I'm just speaking the honest facts and truth. Yes, he's got his miscues. Yes, he's got things he can work on. And he will work on them. I do believe that. But nobody can sit and just say that he wasn't a reason that we got into some of these positions to make these field goals. Now, granted, it was just field goals, but don't discredit how he played. Like, he had to come in last second. Like, hey, man, Tomlin said, hey, man, you're going to be starting this game because of Russ's calf injury. And once Russ is healthy, he will come back and he will be the starter. And, Justin Fields knows that. I'm sure that Mike Tomlin has told him that. And Justin has even said he's willing to do anything he can to help the team. And that's the attitude you want. You can have a Super Bowl or a superstar QB and not win anything. You want to hear a lot of that? Look at what the Colts had. They had Peyton Manning and they had Marvin Harrison, and they didn't win a Super Bowl. But when Peyton Manning went to the Broncos, yeah, it took him a little while, but he got his Super Bowl in 2015. And I'm not saying that's what'll happen. I don't know. But don't think that he can't accomplish that goal in his life. Whether he's the starter or not. If you're a part of that team and they win a Super Bowl one day, he has a ring as well. Because he's a part of that team. Keyword team. And it takes a whole team to be on the same page and to be very aggressive to go forward and say, we're Super Bowl contenders. I think that could happen if everything goes right and everything develops. Maybe another 3-4 years down the line. Maybe sooner than that, depending on how the development of this team goes. But the only reason I say that is because I still don't think that Mike Tomlin will lead this team to a Super Bowl. He's going into his 18th year as the head coach. Or 18th year as a head coach. He hasn't won a Super Bowl with his own team. He hasn't won a Super Bowl since 2008. So, my biggest thing right there is that Mike Tomlin needs to be put on the hot seat eventually. He should have been already, but Art the Clown won't put him on there because he's friends with him. He doesn't want to lose him. Because of, you guessed it, that undefeated record and how he rallies a team in the regular season. But what happens in the regular season don't mean shit if you don't get it done in the playoffs. What will eventually need to happen for Pittsburgh, whether anybody likes it or not, until Mike Tomlin proves it otherwise, I don't see us winning the Super Bowl with him. But I'll give him credit for this. Mike Tomlin knows how to convince players to come play for him. And he personally wanted Justin Fields. In fact, when Justin Fields back in 2021 during the draft combine or the pro days at Ohio State, he went over to the coach and he says, "You know who we're here to see." That undoubtedly would have been the pick if he fell to Pittsburgh in that draft. Because normally Mike Tomlin does not look at quarterbacks like that. So if there's any spot that he can develop in, any better spot he can develop as a quarterback, it's the Steelers with Mike Tomlin because, like him or not, he does let quarterbacks take their time to develop into what we could possibly see. I mean, look at Mason Rudolph, like I said. But still, out of that, I know I took a little bit longer to talk about Justin Fields and stuff than I thought. I mean, I'm already 25 minutes into this video. The defense, I mean, we started out slow. We gave up one touchdown, but I'll say this. The way we were able to get to the running back and stop the run game at times was absolutely great. I had really no minus, besides Patrick Queen with his missed tackles and stuff. But he'll work on that. I have no problem believing that. The one thing I want to talk about is just how aggressive this defense came out and was sitting there hearing all of us saying we need to stop the run. We need to be able to stop the passing. And hard to believe or not, they did that in this game. The Steelers were able to stop the run game and limit the passing. And whether if it's Kirk Cousins or not, still, TJ Watt playing pissed off, and I've never seen him play this pissed off before. I mean, he was getting off that line, which that one play where the center snapped the ball, TJ timed that perfectly, and the ref even went back to apologize for it. Apologize to TJ. Personally, he said, "I'm sorry. That was completely on me. You fooled all of us on that jump because he timed that. I kid you not. I've never seen a timed snap and a get off the line as quick as TJ did. That was, I'm not joking when I say this, that was perfect timing. I've never seen one defensive player do that. He was looking immediately at that center and seeing when he snapped that ball. And he got off the line just like that. And you can expect that way more in week 2. Because he is a man on a mission. He's going to have more than one sack, I can guarantee. He's going to be feasting in that game. Because it's TJ Watt, and TJ Watt does TJ Watt things. Interception by Deshaun Elliott was great. And just not only that, but Cam Hayward and Montravius Adams on that QB pressure, how they got back there so quick. It's like, oh man. It's like, oh, that defense. Put it properly, I would have to change my pants. To put it appropriately, I'd have to change my pants. I don't give a shit, man. It's my channel. I'll say that. I don't give a fuck. But in all honesty, Dante Jackson missed an interception in the opening quarter, I believe, or it was around the first quarter, yeah. And in the fourth, he was like, you know what? Hold my damn beer. And hold my damn fries, my drink. I'm going to get this interception. And he did it, and he took off down that field. Would have honestly been a pick six the way he was running because he plays physical. Like, he don't give a fuck who's in the middle. I'm pretty sure if a lineman was there to get him, he would still be wanting to embrace that challenge. But just the way this secondary played, man, like, it just blew my mind how good they were, how quickly they were getting in sync. And I like that. That's what we've been missing is the physicality and the play recognition on the defense. That's something we lacked terribly last year. Was everything perfect? No. But when you look at how run heavy some teams are, they're going to be looking at Pittsburgh. If they keep this up all season, they're going to be like, shit, we got to face Pittsburgh. And their defense is no joke. And if the offense can get in a good groove, which they showed at times in week 1 that they could, I'm telling you right now, there will be a lot of people or a lot of players saying, yeah, we need to take this team seriously. Not saying Super Bowl. Just get that out of the way. I'm not saying Super Bowl. But the progression, just show the increase of what we can look forward to, what we can be happy to look forward to. This offensive line showed it. And Zach Frazier, I'm telling you all right now, what he did to Grady Jarrett on the first play of the game, a rookie center put Grady Jarrett's ass on the ground. Like, I'm not saying he, pushed him all the way to the ground. He did what he was supposed to, which was grab him and shove him to the ground. That, Grady Jarrett, which what I consider, he's one of the most underrated, I'm going to say he's a D tackle. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but he is one of the best D tackles when healthy if you look at it. And now that he's got a defense that he can rely on, that'll give him more time to rush the quarterback and all that. That's going to be a scary defense for the Falcons. Make no mistake. Their biggest issue will be if they can get the ball downfield, which they've shown that they could. And the biggest thing that Falcons fans want to see is get Kyle Pitts involved, which you need to. He's literally your number one target. And maybe your second target. Who could be your second target? I'm going to say Darnell Mooney. Above anything else, I really don't know too many. Besides Ray McLeod, he could be a underrated catcher for you guys. But anyway, above anything else, this team played good. And like I said, it's going to be, it could be super fun, and this team could be dangerous on defense. The way they played, that defense, oh, man, I was enjoying every bit of that defense. That is Steelers defense. That was elite defense in this game. If they continue to put that up, which again, with this season, my expectations for this team is at the lowest point. But that's so I don't get, disappointed at the end. We need to have that low expectation because, again, going into this game, Pittsburgh wasn't a fan favorite to win this game. But also, Steeler Nation showed up. Steeler Nation is literally everywhere. If you fart and look at the word Steeler Nation in the dictionary, if it was there, it would say travel everywhere. Because that's what we do. That's what they do. I live in a little place in West Virginia. And I I breathe and cut me open, and I will bleed freaking gold because the Steelers are my team. I will never, ever say any different. My favorite player growing up was Troy Polamalu on the Troy Polamalu and James Harrison on that defensive side, and not to mention Ryan Clark. But a lot of people are wondering, like, will this live up to the? Some people I've seen that said, will this live up to the 2007 2008 defense? I wouldn't go that far. I think that they should be good physically in their own way, like they did in this game. Not saying they didn't show signs of that physical type of defense like that 2008 version, but I don't want to compare them to them because that's a Super Bowl winning team. They won the Super Bowl back in 2008. This team still has yet to prove, and Mike Tomlin still has yet to prove if he can get us another Super Bowl. That's all I ask for, man, is like, how about one playoff win? One playoff win. No Super Bowl expectations right now, but a playoff win would show how far this team can go and where the future is. Which I really do believe with Omar Khan as GM, the future is very bright for Pittsburgh. Like, he's had 2 good drafts in a row, which is 2 more in just a span of 2 years that he has fixed this team. He's already fixed the offensive line. Our job, Mike Tomlin's job, is to put them in their preferred spot. No more experiments. Put these guys in their preferred spot and let them go to work. And another thing is, look at how poor James Daniels has played. I mean, in that game, he got really bullied by Atlanta at times. Maybe if he keeps this bad streak going, maybe it's not a bad thing that we let him go next offseason. Because I don't want to pay a player like $28-30 million just for him to get absolutely dominated by the opposing defense. That's probably why we got Mason McCormick. If James Daniels leaves, they'll put him at right guard. But I would much prefer them to put Mason McCormick at left guard, his preferred spot on the offensive line, and then draft a natural right guard and put them right there in that spot. And if it all would pan out at that point, you're looking at a very good offense, a very exciting offense. And yes, I do believe that during the deadline, I think Omar Khan will try to push for a receiver. For anybody who is wondering, I do believe he will do that eventually. See, he's no slouch to being aggressive. But again, this video is like 39 minutes long, guys. But yeah, Dante Jackson interception and Deshaun Elliott interception. TJ Watt doing what he does best. Cam Hayward, Montravius Adams getting to the quarterback. This defense just did their thing, stopping the run. I loved it. And I will see you guys after week 2. Oh, one more thing. The Pittsburgh Steelers have brought back Terrell Edmunds to the practice squad. And we'll see where that leads up. Maybe he'll eventually be in competition for I'm going to say DeMonte Casey's backup spot. And if so, I would put him where he thrives, which is, I think he thrives a lot in a dime linebacker spot, which he did prove to be really good at. Not saying use him as a linebacker, but a safety who ain't shy from that. And I think you'll eventually see him. I think he will eventually play. It won't be like a full game. He'll be here and there. And they may have brought him back for competition at maybe a corner spot, which ain't his position, but that's what I'm guessing. Or maybe it's just depth. I don't know. But again, Terrell Edmunds is a Pittsburgh Steelers again, and that will be the end of this video. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and yeah, again, like, comment, subscribe. I'm out of here. Here we go, Steelers. Let's get ready for week 2 and go and whoop the freaking Broncos' ass. So, thank y'all again. Like, comment, subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.